Hello, everybody. This is Sandra Pelli Sandini, Intuitive Inner Peace Mentor, the Dragon Ally, and the Galactic Shaman. I am thrilled to have you here today. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love it if you subscribed because your subscription to my channel makes a big difference in my world. And this is brought to you today by my book, A Spiritual How To, and it is found on most Amazons. This channel, Step into the Light, Step into Your Life, is a magical experience that a lot of people have in their lives when they decide to show up for themselves. And this is what I'm doing. I'm interviewing people who decide to show up for themselves. And like I said, here is the Step into the Light, Step into Your Life. And I have the beautiful Sherry Miller Wild with me again today. We've already had one beautiful experience together speaking about Egypt, and we thought we would dive a little bit further into this. What's so magical about Sherry is that she came from a teaching background. She was a retired school teacher and really was in this quandary as to what to do with her life. And I remember our beginning conversations, and my very first thing to you was, I'm being shown that you should volunteer for something. And as it turns out, it was the local Boys and Girls Club, I believe, is where you volunteered, correct?
Yeah.
And then from there, you really started to open up to so much more. What else can happen all around me? And I know some of that was very particular because you chose to step into two very powerful mantras, the I am open mantra and the I am love mantra. And then you expanded and all this stuff started happening around you. And you had a lot of questions. You kept asking questions. You kept asking questions. You didn't ask questions just of myself and others, but you started to really ask your divine guidance for answers, and really stepped into listening and being in this beautiful state of awareness. And all of this set you up for this incredible opportunity to jump into taking a trip to Egypt with a very well-known author, Sarah Breskman Cosme, and her incredible books. One of the titles is around the, actually, what is the title of the book that made the difference for you? Oh, I can't remember. There's three anyway.
There's three, and the first one was a hypnotist. Travels or something. I've got it here somewhere.
This one's the Trail of Tears, and one is to Egypt, right?
A hypnotist's journey to Atlantis, and a hypnotist's The Secret to the Sphinx. And then the third one was The Trail of Tears. But these two like put me like over the edge. And then I contacted her on her Facebook page, and she's the sweetest person ever. And I already told the story on the first one where, you know, she just, every time I'd make a comment on the page, she'd answer me. And then she was a guest on Paola, and I forgot her last name, but she's a world-renowned extraterrestrial follower, investigator. And there were only 25 people on this Zoom call. And so I joined it, and it was inexpensive. And when I got on there, Sarah's like, "Oh, hi, Sherry." And I'm like, "Oh, hi." But anyway, the rest is history. I went on, I told the story how that trip was manifested, and it was incredible. And she just left for another trip. They're there today. So, and it's exactly 1 year since that trip. I wish I was there.
Let's dive a little bit deeper in here. Now, you went into a fairly significant kind of day by day bits and pieces of the whole experience a year ago. And for those of you who are listening, we're taping this in real time. It's currently 2024, so that was 2023. May 2023 is when she went. And then you told us a little bit about Isis.
The Essenes. Is that what I said? Or the Isis temple? Which way?
Yes. You told us a little bit about your experience in the Isis temple. So why don't you
reiterate, say that a little bit more so
Okay.
that we all know where you're at and what has happened since then, because that was such an incredible experience for yourself.
Actually, because I gave a presentation a month or so ago. Now, the trip included a 4-day cruise down the Nile, which was fabulous. And
I'm going to get you to say that sentence again. And I'm going to just go off camera while you show that piece of paper, because when I go off camera, it shows a great big large expansiveness of that versus this. Okay, so go ahead and start, and I'll remove myself.
Okay. So the trip included a 4-day cruise down, 4-day 3-night cruise down the Nile. It was fabulous, and so we stopped at the island of Philae, which includes the Temple of Isis. And I had a major experience there. And let me see if I can. This is the Temple of Isis. Now, back in the 70s, this whole temple was moved because when they built the Aswan Dam, it was literally going to be underwater. And so the whole block by block, they moved this whole temple, which is amazing. You can't tell. But it's just beautiful. As I walked into the temple, most of the carvings are up high, but there was a carving of Isis. And we'd been doing this, I think this was like day 4 or 5 of a 12-day trip. And us weird people, or the psychic people, were touching walls and doing meditations. And we had a guide that was basically paying off the guards, because you're not supposed to do this, that were allowing us to do this and having these spiritual experiences. And I had a major one here. When I touched both hands Isis, in my third eye, Isis became human. And she was in profile. She turned and looked at me I noticed her eyes were like laser blue. She looked right at me, and I was in shock. And I went, oh my God, and I broke contact. I'll get back to here. This is part of the view of the Nile, and the Nile is so beautiful and so clean in that part of Egypt. Let me see if there's anything else. And here's some of the other carvings in the other part of there's 2 separate temples in other areas of the island. Let me see what else. I think here is the original entrance to the island that they didn't move, and it's partially submerged. And I also had a vision here of women in white robes entering through this gateway. And they would have been initiates. And then as we were leaving, do I have that picture? I don't think I have it here. But in another part of the island, there's a bunch of columns. I received a vision of those columns covered with wisteria, and just absolutely beautiful. So those were my visions on the island. But when I broke away from that vision I had of Isis, I was, the rest of the time I was there, I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't have broken that contact. Because I felt like there was a message that was going to come through, but I was so shocked that it's what I did. And when I came, I thought about the whole rest of the trip, and I had other experiences, but not with Isis.
Can I interrupt you for just a moment here?
Yeah.
Because this podcast is called Step into the Light, Step into Your Life, I just kind of want to take a step back because you said something, a couple different things, right? First of all, the spiritual connection that you had with that. And just bear with me here as I kind of lead up into kind of what I'm asking. The touching of the walls, the feeling the spiritual experience, the witnessing her Isis turning and looking at you, seeing the color of her eyes, seeing the vision of those women dressed in white entering that portal onto the island. Can you maybe explain a little bit about that, what that was like for you specifically? Because when people hear that, they don't really, some may not really understand that sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's words popping in, sometimes it's a visual. So what was that aspect of things for you, first of all, please?
There's a feeling. Well, first of all, I know that I'd been there before. And the whole trip was that feeling. I know that I've had lifetimes there. More than one. And it's not, I can have visions with my eyes open. And it's, I don't know as I can explain it, but you just, and ever since my third eye opened, I don't know if I can explain it.
Fair enough. So let me tell you how I feel or see some of these things. Sometimes they're very, very specific where I'll get like, say, dragon's eyes. I'll have this visual and there's dragon's eyes kind of shooting at me, and I'll get this visual of an actual dragon eye with the way the skin is around the dragon eye. And other times it's this sense. So for me, I know that there's a crystalline building or crystalline castle, like literally right there in front of me on my right hand side. Do I physically see that? No, but I can feel the energy of it, and I get the sense of what it's shaped like. Even like I get the sense of what the turrets look like. I get the sense of what the roof looks like, but I'm not actually physically seeing it. It's almost like it's in a different dimension, but man, can I ever feel the energy of what it actually looks like.
You know what I've noticed is if it's a past life, it's in color and I see more detail. If it's not, but I'm still seeing it, it's muted. And that's when Sandra knows that I see things in red. I see it through the red. And that's a realization that just came to me.
Wow. So I'm so glad I asked you to go further with that.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's big. That's big. Holy moly.
Okay. So now please feel free to, okay. So when you sense these women walking through the towers, the columns into and onto the island, was it a sense, or was it like I explained, that castle, that crystalline castle, where it's there, you can energetically see them, even though you're not seeing like a photo.
Yeah, energetically see them in a line. Well, actually, it was two lines. Perfectly white robes, and there was a ring of something. Perhaps flowers on their head, very quiet, solemn. They were very happy. It was lovely. The place was, I don't know, it was a very special place to me, but everyone in our group had abilities, and everyone had different reactions to different temples and places where, I might have not had that type of reaction to other places, but other people did. So it was, and we'd all get excited for someone else, like, tell us what did you get? What did you get? So it was like every day was, and that's like, when I came home, the downloads were constant. And here I am a year out, and I feel like I'm finally, like, I was still getting downloads, and I still get them.
Let's talk about that for just a minute. I love this because given where humanity is right now, and last March of 2023, actually, I would like to say, there was this great awakening, if you will, where the veil was thinned. Actually, it was removed, and we technically can see more when we stand in the choice to see more. Mm-hmm. Having said that, when you have an experience such as you did in Egypt, it's such a major download of information that it's virtually impossible to really grasp what's even happened, never mind understanding it. And so I love that it's been a year since then, and that you're in awareness that you're still getting downloads. Mm-hmm. And also, too, you've given yourself the space. Like, you made a point at some point in I guess it was probably about a year and a half ago, that you said, okay, I need to take a break from this so that I can experience and acclimate to whatever I've already experienced. And that's part of the reason why you ended up in Egypt. It's part of the reason why so many things happened to you, because you were at this point in your life that you were so ready to experience these things.
Do you remember me telling you something big's coming, something big? Yeah. I could feel it. I didn't know what, but something big is coming. Oh.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Life-changing big, right? Yeah. So moving forward from that, it opened up a whole bunch of doors for Sherry. One, she chose to do some training, the QHHT, the quantum healing hypnosis technique. She chose to do that. And in doing that, she's been doing some of the practicum of that, doing the practical practice sessions with people, and has further expanded her own awareness because of this. Mm-hmm. And in the background, the downloads are happening, and she's getting more. How does this want to come through? It's not she's getting more. The awareness of how she fits into this is starting to be more foundational. Yeah. Am I accurate in that?
Yes. I was told while I was over there that the downloads I was receiving would open up my other gifts, which it has, like the experience I had 2 weeks ago that I told you about. But I'd like to go, before I go into that, because I need to go into that, because that was a I'd like to go into what I did when I came home. And I waited a while because sometimes things don't dawn on me because I was in such a fog for so long when I came home. And then one day I'm like, because first of all, I knew that I could tap into the consciousness of the Sphinx, because the Sphinx is a living entity. So I've done that, and that's pretty wild. And people should do that. And see what they get. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but that's my suggestion. So then I was like, why don't I just contact Isis myself? And that was like a hello, because nobody else, she didn't turn her head and look at anyone else this whole trip. I'm like, and there were 30 of us. So I did. She came right through. I'm like, holy cow. And she called me, hello, great mother. And I went numb, tingly all over. And then this gets me a little emotional.
I'm just going to give you half a second here. I like this is a really, really big thing. This is a really big thing. And because this, again, I'm step into the light, step into your life, right? Here is a world famous Egyptian figurehead calling Sherry the Great Mother. Not a mother, but the Great Mother. I really want each of the listeners to truly embrace what being told something like that feels like, because it is this whole bunch of emotions. I've had this experience myself, and I've told Sherry the story about mine, and it had to do with the shaman. And you go through this whole series of first of all, disbelief. Like, really, are you talking to me? Like, it's just little me, the human, whoever I am, right? Secondly, it's like, okay, well, if I'm gonna be that, or if I am that, what is that? Like, there's just so many emotions that come up with that. And I'm gonna put this here again. Be okay with where you're at and give yourself space to process. Okay? Because it's so important that you don't just negate what you've just been given. Because if you do that, your life will just continue on in the method that it already has been doing. I can tell you with some certainty that because Sherry stepped into accepting she is the Great Mother, and she actually speaks these words when she introduces herself in a weekly circle. Every week she says that title. She has embraced that. And because of that, because she's embraced this, she is continuing this incredible, incredible journey. And I just really wanted to share that, Sherry. Thank you.
Well, like 2 years ago, when I go into meditation and I ask for my grounding cord, I ask Archangel Michael to send down my grounding cord. And then I visualize it coming down, going through my chakras, and it goes down to the center of the earth, and I have a clip. It clips to a hook. And right near there is my tree of life. And a couple of years ago, I happened to look over at my tree of life, and it's gold. And I'm like, why is my tree of life gold? And I've since found out why. And if you've heard of Enki, I've had a couple of visitations from Enki. He is a Sumerian god. He is part of the Sumerian creation story. He sent me a vision several years ago. And this is what ties in with Isis. He had a sister. I forgot her name. She is the one who birthed Adamu. Genetically altered the existing species here on Earth to create the first human. She took the genetic material from the existing species here, artificially inseminated herself. She birthed the first human. my soul, was Enki and his sister's mother. Hence, my soul is part of the creation story. Enki has given me visions of who I was on their planet. I believe it was Nibiru, and if it's called something else, I had a past life, a QHHT past life session with Sarah Breskman Cosme. And one of the past lives was my soul as an energy up in space or in the ethers. And I saw all the other soul lights or soul energies, little squiggles everywhere, just like me. We were just energies. But I saw this gigantic space ship. I guess that's what it was. Huge. Like, I can't even explain how huge it was. And it looked like a giant crab. And I had a knowing that that was one of the Anunnaki's ships.
So this is just as an aside here. This is fascinating to me because in the last couple of months, I have been literally cleaning out my mom's stuff because she has dementia and they're planning on moving. And two of the things that I grabbed, one is a picture about this size, and it's that 3D type of effect of a crab. And the other thing that I made sure I got was a little brooch that is a crab.
Oh.
Wow. It makes sense now.
So that was, and my higher self told me that that was to confirm that all of that is real. So anyway, back to this contact with Isis and her telling me, saying, hello, great mother. At that point in time, it's like Sherry, like separated, and I was in the background. And the mother of Isis took over, and I was just watching. And Isis had a bone to pick with her mother. And it was like a common everyday complaint that so many kids have with their mother. She has for eons had this complaint with her mother that she didn't get enough attention. All of her, why did so much of your attention go to my brother? And I could feel her hurt. And the instant answer was, he needed me more. You were so much more self-sufficient. You were so much more put together. He needed me more. You did not. And I'm sorry. I'm truly, truly sorry. I wish I could take that back.
I just feel so emotional. Yeah.
I could feel the heartbreak of that mother. I wish I could do it over. Oh my God. Isis was hurt as a child. And I went, wow. And how many thousands upon thousands of years had she been waiting to say that to me? And I know that in this lifetime, I make sure that both my children, I have a son and a daughter, I give equal attention to.
You took this a step further, even with your school teaching, like with your children. Like I've heard the stories you've told about how you had such beautiful equality with your children.
Yes. I've always made sure, even when I was coaching and I coached like 18 kids at a time, I made sure as I'm driving home, who didn't get attention today? And I made sure in the classroom, I did the same thing. So I thought, wow, I hope I have atoned for that weakness. It was huge.
You know, I just literally got this flash. May I share with you?
Yeah.
I literally witnessed you as the great mother and her kneeling in adoration and pure love, like you have is the sense of it that I've got of this. Wow.
Yeah. So this has been mind-boggling, mind-blowing, just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope I was able to heal that. She's had, incarnations as other people. Enki is in our Enki made himself known to me visually, but kind of blurry. And I have amazing protection, like big time, for what I'm here to do. So now I need to go into what happened a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for this? Okay, people who are listening, get ready for this one.
Let's just take a moment to breathe, first of all. Whew. So I just really want to walk through a couple mantras to embrace the energy of what we're working with here and to help people with tools to actually empower this. So first of all, just really asking for your mind, body, and soul and all aspects of self to be willing to receive and share. Accepting, trusting, and believing in self. Stepping into the I am open. With no expectations. No limitations. I am creating the outcome. So it is.
My higher self just came through.
Love it.
When the heat in my hands started, and it was coming through really heavy duty, and I'm like, ow. I didn't know what to do. And you said, you can ask to have that turned down. That was several years ago, remember?
Yeah.
And then, oh gosh, I had, I'm going to mention Kitty, Budaweg Foss. I had a reading with Kitty a few years ago. She's in our circle. And there was an angelic being that came through, and she said, Sherry, tell this being she was waiting for you, but tell this being to turn down its light. It came through to let you know that everything you're experiencing is real. It's real. Don't shrug it off. It's real. I'm like, okay, wow. That was like 3 years ago. I'm like, okay. And then through the reading, and I talk with my hands a lot, and she goes, Sherry, I just saw gold fly off your hands. I'm like, oh, holy cow. So, I don't know. Wow. So, I have major energy in my hands. And, oh gosh, there's other stories too, but I was asked, I'm sorry, I'm going off in tangents, but it all leads up to what happened 2 weeks ago. I was asked by spirit or someone up there, by some council. Yeah, it was a council to send healing, love, and light to certain places around the world. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And when it started, I called it the callings. When it started, it was one morning that I started feeling kind of strange. It was always in the morning. And so the first thing I saw was this huge emerald cut amethyst. And it came right to my third eye. I'm like, oh, that's pretty. And then next, I saw this beautiful gold arch with a royal blue, which is my favorite color, like inlaid in it with these gold balls and stars hanging from it. And it came real close to me. I have no idea what that stands for. I'm like, okay. Then I heard Afghanistan. Then this world map was laid out in front of me, and they zoomed me to Afghanistan. And I just automatically knew what to do. I've always loved maps, and I love history. So I knew right where it was on the map, and I had to send love and light. So with love, I either wrap it in pink silk or send pink rose petals. Depends, either one. And for the light, I sent, I don't have it with me, a double pointed crystal quartz. So I sent the crystal quartz all over Afghanistan. And when it hit the map, it popped with like little sparkles of light. Boop, boop, pop, 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 pop. And like my heart chakra was exploding, and I was sweating big time. And when it was all over, I'm like, phew. Well, then I heard the Vatican. I'm like, really? And then it zoomed me to St. Peter's, did the whole thing all over again. But the eerie thing was when I went to St. Peter's, this ooky black creature like went, yeah, and like zoomed out from behind. It took off like it saw me coming. Yeah, yuck. There's some nasty stuff at the Vatican. And I did the same thing. And then it all calmed down. And then for 2 months, either every morning, sometimes every other morning, if I felt that feeling, I had a calling and I went somewhere on the map. Sometimes it was a city. Sometimes it was a whole country. And 1 month before Ukraine was invaded, I went to Ukraine. But again, my hands were, it was all, again, I was sending it with my hands. All right. That started all with my hands. So that was to give you a little background. I'm sorry if I'm
No, this is fine.
okay.
This is fine. This is your show, girl.
So I'll get knowings or messages to send it out. Sometimes it's just go where you need to go. Other times it's specific places. Sometimes it's to people. Like I live in the Finger Lakes. I got a message from the Great Chief, the Spirit of the Lake, a couple months ago. Please send healing to our lake. So I did, and that's very special and near and dear to my heart. But one night, it was 2 weeks ago Friday, I couldn't get to sleep, and it was, I don't know, 1 a.m. or thereabouts, and closing my eyes, and all of a sudden, I see the little squiggles, and I know what those squiggles are. They are light beings, energy, they're souls, people's souls. And so I said to them, oh, I'm wondering why I'm seeing these. Can you slow down so I can see you? So they did. And then I just saw little dots. And there's thousands of them. It's in my third eye. Then I'm like, can you come closer? They came closer. As they came closer, they came so close that I could see them as clear plasma balls with their little soul light in them. And they're so close. They came so close. They were all meshed together, all like stuck together, like little bubbles with their little lights. I'm like, oh, hello. You know, I didn't hear anything at that point. And then all of a sudden, they were like real tight, and then they started moving up and really high, and everywhere they were, I can't explain it real well, but they were like stuck together with all their little lights, and there were so many of them, like all across my vision in my third eye. And then in a blink of an eye, things started turning kind of yucky, and they separated, and I saw this skeletal, and all the little lights were stuck to this skeletal thing. I didn't see the plasma anymore, but I saw all these little lights, and they were stuck to the skeleton, and this thing was moving fast and fast and fast and fast, and kept moving and moving and moving, and it felt gross and yucky. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. And then I heard, get out, like mean. And I'm like, I instantly went, you can't tell me to get out. And I went, oh, this isn't good. And so my hands started getting really, really hot. And that was a message for me to send these souls love and light. So I started sending them love and light. And I'm like, I don't think me alone is enough. And it kept moving and moving and moving. And the energy in my hands was so strong. Usually I only feel it here. It was coming out my fingertips. And so I opened my eyes, and I called in Archangel Michael, because he's answered me before without fail. I'm like, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael. And then I kind of went blank because I was scared. I went, all the archangels, all my angels, all my guides, everybody. Hello, I'm a little scared here. I need your help now. That's pretty much, there was nothing pretty about what I said. I was just like, now. And it was seconds. I have a high ceiling here. Seconds, and my hands are still on fire. These little twinkling, and again, it's pitch dark in my room. These little lights start flickering, little twinkling lights. And they're coming down. I'm like, okay, this is working. This is working. They're coming. They're coming. Tinkle, 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 tinkle. And I know that those are angels because it's happened before. And then they move about 3 feet over. I've got a ceiling fan. And then this little tornado whirlwind start. And the lights get longer. More angels. And they're surrounding the whirlwind. Just twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. Now they're moving over above my head where I'm laying down. And it's moving around. I have a big bedroom, and I know it's cleansing my room. And it's going all the way around the top perimeter of my ceiling. Now my bedroom doors open about 6 inches when it finally, it's taking its time, but the whirlwind is the tornado thing is getting longer, more lights. So it's cleansing my room, and it gets to my door and fills up my door with all lights. It stays there a few seconds and leaves. And I know that everything's cleansed, everything's good. It feels good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm just kind of reveling in the energy of that. It's very powerful.
Now I wasn't sure what just happened, what I did. But I know that's a gift that I have. And now Kitty's guide said, you just saved thousands of souls. And I asked, and she said, that's a gift that you've had in another life. You have it in this life.
Just believe.
So I may be asked to do that again. And I wasn't like panicky scared because I knew that I had that protection, but it still was a little scary.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm almost speechless. That doesn't happen very often. I'm just like I said, I'm kind of sitting here in the energy of what you've told us, and thinking about each of those beautiful souls, that energy, whatever, right, and how you truly knew you were being asked to assist. There was a reason why you were there. There was a reason why you witnessed what you witnessed right from the get-go. And there's a reason why your hands have been activated for some time. There's a reason why you were told there's something big, or had the feeling that something big is going to happen. Like, it just keeps coming.
Yeah.
And I'm also loving that who you are today, like 2 weeks ago, even 2 weeks ago,
I know.
That person 2 weeks ago is so different from the person that I met back in I think 2018.
Yeah.
Or earlier. I think it might have been earlier, but so different. And you went from the retired school teacher who really had no idea what to do with their life, knew that there might be something more to life, to who you are and who you're becoming. And you are the epitome of this step into the light, step into your life. And I just value every moment that I get to cherish with you. You're so incredible. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Is there anything you'd like to wind up with?
I've asked my guides. Because so many people won't believe this, but yet I'm ready to share it. I can't make this up.
No. And you know what? It doesn't matter about those who don't believe. it's more for those who are ready to believe and those of us who do believe.
Yeah.
And I believe. Like everything that you say to me, like you said, you can't make this stuff up, you know. And you know too from your experience with QHHT, the quantum healing, that there's a bigger picture going on here, everybody. This quantum space, when we start to tap into this, it's massively huge. The potential that we have as human beings is beyond the human understanding, period. End of story.
You know, and the people who want to look at the negative of what's going on in the earth, that I believe that we're going to come out on top of everything. This has to happen for us to come out on the other side, and I'm a part of that. What happened in that with that whole thing, that was for the good.
That's right.
I believe that's why I'm here.
Yeah, and so it is. You are. Yeah. So I did just ask if you had anything else you wanted to wind up with. Are you good where you're at there with what you just said, or would you like to? Okay, beautiful.
No, I'm good where I'm at.
Okay, thank you so much, Sherry. We are definitely going to do a part 3 to this. As long as Sherry keeps having these incredible experiences, I want to share them with the people who are ready to listen, the people who are ready to truly make a difference in their own lives and start to step into the light and step into their own lives. You're a beautiful prime example of that. And thank you for coming and speaking to us. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.